Hello everyone. Today we are gonna make another stream about education abroad with my new guest. She is from Brazil and she will introduce herself as well. But I will say something about her before the take in the stream her. And she is Brazilian and she is a PhD student in Iowa State University College of Veterinary Medicine School, and she is third year PhD student, and she is gonna finish soon her PhD. And also she got the master degree in the US as well, and she has a few experience about how to apply any PhD program in the US. She got a few experience about that. And now I am going to take in the stream her and Deborah Brito Gollard. Please welcome and join us. Hi.
Thank you, Jamal. Good morning, everyone. I'm in Turkey. I assume that is at night.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
United States, it's 9 a.m. and in Brazil is noon, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for inviting me for this live stream. I feel very honored about that.
You're welcome, and also thank you for joining us today. And please, can you introduce yourself? Who is Deborah Brito Goulart?
Yeah, sure. So I am originally from Brazil, from the southeast of Brazil. My state is called Minas Gerais, which is around 6 hours by car from my city to Rio, just for you to have an idea. And I got my, sorry?
This is the famous one, Rio.
Yes, Rio. I say Rio because if I say Minas Gerais, people don't know. But if I say Rio, people know. So it's like just 6 hours by car. So it's not so far away. And I got my bachelor's degree in veterinary medicine in my hometown, in the Federal University of Minas Gerais. And 1 year after I finished my bachelor's, I came to the United States for the first time to do an internship through the University of Minnesota. And through that internship, I worked 6 months in a dairy farm in Illinois, just like taking care of the calves, small calves. And after that internship, I went to the University of Minnesota, where I was for 9 months working in the College of Veterinary Medicine in a research project about milk quality. After I finished my internship, like 7 months after I finished the internship, as soon as I finished the internship, actually, I went back to Brazil and I was there for 6 months. And then I came back to the United States again to get my master's degree from the University of Minnesota. And in that degree, I was in the Department of Food Science. So I did basically food engineering research. I didn't do anything related to veterinary medicine, which was a little bit challenging for me because I needed to change completely my field of research. But at the same time that it was challenging, it was very interesting because I learned a lot. And the University of Wisconsin is a great place to be at. And then 3 years after I finished my master's degree, I came back to the United States again to get my PhD in veterinary microbiology at Iowa State University. That is the university that you also know. And I'm actually in my 4th year of PhD. It's been 3 years that I'm here already, which means that I'm starting my 4th year already. And I plan on finish my PhD soon as possible. Maybe if I cannot do this year, maybe by the middle of next year. These are plans.
I hope you will do that.
Yeah, I hope so. Me too.
I want to start first step, and you said you came to US after you got the veterinary degree and DVM degree. After that, you came to US for an internship. And how did you find this internship?
Yeah, that internship was through a university in Brazil, but it was not from my university. It was from the Federal University of Viçosa, which is a very famous university in Brazil as well, especially if you are in the field of veterinary medicine, agronomy, and nutritionist as well. And through that university, they have a program that they have some, how can I say, they have some association between this university in Brazil and University of Minnesota and also the Ohio State. And I chose to go to any of them.
You mean they have some agreement between them?
Yes.
And
yes.
About this agreement, and they are changing the students between these two universities, and Ohio University and you mentioned it, that's university, right?
Yes, actually, that internship is not an exchange internship. Doesn't mean that a person of the Ohio State or University of Minnesota needs to go to Brazil. It's not like that. So what I did, I just contacted that university and I applied for the internship. And then I was approved. That's how I came to the United States for the first time.
First time, yeah.
Yes.
I see. At that time, most of our listener is student, and they don't have really big budget, and I believe they are worried about how can cover our expense, And at that time, how did you cover your expense? I mean, your living or your airlines ticket or something like that?
Yes. So the good thing about this internship is that when the first part of the internship, you work in a you work in a place, right? I wanted to work in a dairy farm. Some people they choose to work with chickens. Others they choose to work in a dairy industry making cheese. So it depends on what you want to do. And you're paid for that. So it's an internship, but the people pay you to do that. And after the job at the farm finish, you don't need necessarily to go to the university. You go if you want. But my biggest wish was to go to the university, actually. This is why I did the internship. And when I went to the university, I was able to find a job in a research lab with a professor at the University of Minnesota. So to sum up, when you start to work at the place, they pay you. But then when you go to the university, you have to find a job by yourself at the university. And if you want, later on, people can contact me and I can give the name of the program. This program is called MAST, M-A-S-T, which is called Minnesota Agriculture Student Training. So this is the university has this program for, I think 70 years already. So it's a very famous program.
Oh, I see.
And they are very proud of the program because it's very good for the university. And they have contact with people from all over the world.
I guess we can share that name of the company, that name of the university company in the comments later. And if someone wants to reach out to this company, they can, right?
Yeah, sure, they can. This is inside the University of Minnesota, and I think professors from the university are responsible for that program, actually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's very easy to contact them.
Good to know. Yeah. And if I understood correctly, you mentioned it, you got the second internship before your master degree, right?
Yes, yes. The first thing that I did was the internship.
Yeah.
I worked at the farm, and then I went to Minnesota, to the University of Minnesota.
What do you think? You came to US first time and you got some experience in the dairy farm. And do you think it was useful for you, for your career or for your future plans?
Mm-hmm. Do you mean the internship?
Yeah, that internship.
Yeah, the internship was very helpful for me because first, it was the first time that I was in a different country, living by myself and speaking a language that is not my native language. So it was good because before I started a master's degree, I was able to improve my communication skills a lot. And also, when I was at the University of Minnesota, I took 4 courses while I was there. And those courses, I guess I took ruminant nutrition, dairy management, journalism, and another one that I forgot. And those courses, I got the sense like, okay, this is how is study in the United States, and I like it. And I always wanted to do master's degree and PhD. So it gave me support to strengthen my wish, actually. And I got nice letters of recommendation from the professor that I was working there as well. So it helped me on my master's application when I was going to apply.
I asked that question because most of students thinking, or you mention it,
Mm-hmm.
first time in the US, and that was first time in the US, and you didn't have much more experience, and you didn't know exactly, maybe you couldn't speak English very well at that time, maybe, and it was good to improve yourself a little bit, and it was good to uh, get used to that place, that country, maybe.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And that internship was a kind of fun to me because imagine I was like 26 years old, the first time abroad alone, and it was very fun. I mean, today is still fun, but I'm in a completely different position, right? I have much more responsibilities, and today is another step, is another phase, right?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So,
And how did you decide to start master degree in the US again?
hmm
How did you decide it? And also, how did you find that position
hmm
in the Minnesota University?
Yes. So the point is that when I was maybe in the middle of my bachelor's degree, I knew that I wanted to do master's and PhD. I just didn't know the field that I would like to go, but I already knew. So when I started my internship, I already knew that I wanted to do the master's degree. But when I when I contact this professor at the University of Minnesota, she is very strong in research. She does a lot of research involving Jones disease and also milk quality. And because I really liked to work with her, I asked her if I could apply to a master's degree so she could be my advisor. But it turned out that didn't work because she didn't get the funding for the project. And when I was at the University of Minnesota, I found some courses at the University of Wisconsin related to cheese production, cheese and milk quality, this type of things.
And
So
food
I went,
industry.
sorry?
I guess this is related exactly food industry.
Yes, food science, food industry, food engineering, this type of thing. And I went to the University of Wisconsin when I was in Minnesota I was there for 4 days doing the course by myself. I just found the course, I paid, I took a bus and then I went. And when I went there, I met a professor that was teaching the course and I talked to him and I just expressed my wish to get a master's degree. And I really liked his field of research. And then at that time, he told me, "Oh, I don't have a scholarship right now, but if I get a scholarship, I will let you know." So basically, 6 months after this conversation, he got a scholarship, and then he told me, and that's how I came with the master's degree. So I just expressed my wish, and then he we kept contact during that time, and everything worked out well. But there are different ways to come for a master's degree and PhD, and we can talk about this if you'd like.
To be honest, I understood from that story, and in your case, you just try to find a way for you, and
Mm-hmm.
you push yourself to talk with people, and the people is completely strange for you, and maybe most of them is Native American, and
Yes.
most of people thinking hesitating, or I shouldn't disrupt the people, or I shouldn't annoy the people, And but you didn't maybe think much more about that. Then you
No.
talk with people and
Mhm.
you contact with them, and then after that, and you find a new way for you.
Yes, I think that what I feel about not only Americans, but also people who come to other countries and become a professor here at the United States, most of them, they are very open to conversation. So you shouldn't feel shy to talk to them, because
Yeah.
I would say that maybe 99% of them are very open. So you can talk to them, and they are, most of the time, people reply you very well and very fast as well. They are very good in communication here, which makes our lives like much easier, I would say.
Um, After that, what did you do? I mean, you finished your master degree, you got the master degree. After that, what did you do?
Yeah, so as soon as I finished my master's degree, my plan was to go back to Brazil for 6 months and then come back to the United States again to get my PhD. Because at that time, I got a scholarship from the Brazilian government to go to Cornell University. But a lot of things happened in that time. Like the professor at Cornell, he went back to his country because he is originally from the Netherlands. And then he told me, Deborah, that's fine. I will be happy to work with you, but you have to go to the Netherlands with me. So when I explained the
For
situation,
what?
go to the PhD in his university at the Netherlands.
Oh, I see.
Yes, and then the Brazilian government didn't agree to exchange the university. And then I just lost the scholarship, which was, I was sad at the time, but then life happens, and a lot of things happen in my life, and I was kind of enjoying staying at home with my family. And but at the same time that I was in Brazil, I was thinking, okay, what I'm going to do now, what I'm going to do. And I was considering staying in Brazil and maybe doing the PhD there. And but I think that I really wanted to come back to the United States to do the PhD.
Why? This is the, I guess, important question, because
Uh-huh.
why you want to go back to United States again?
Uh-huh. I was sure that I want to do the PhD. This is something that I was 100% sure. And I
Mhm.
could clearly see that if I do the PhD in the United States, I would have more options in the future.
Mhm.
And at that time, this was 2017, and Brazil is facing a very serious political problem, economical problem, a very huge crisis. And then I thought with myself, like, time will pass if I stay in Brazil or if I go to the United States. So I think it's a great opportunity to go. And times flies, and 4 or 5 years is very fast.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already in my fourth year of PhD. And I think that in the United States provides you more support to do the research, and also you have more opportunities when you finish. I mean, not if you want to go back to your country, it's okay. Doesn't mean that if you do the PhD in the United States, you have to be here for your whole life. I think it just gives you more, it opens your mind a little bit. It opens. I think
Mhm.
American institutions, they are very diverse, and that gives you a good background, even to be a better person, to accept more, to be more flexible, to accept different people at the same time. And I think the world needs this today, especially nowadays. Yeah.
And you couldn't find the correct way for the PhD program firstly, but
Yes.
after that, how did you find this program, and how
Mhm.
did you get that position? What did you do at that time? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess people should think about a little bit, and you know, you are planning something, and your plan is broken down. Then
Mhm.
maybe your mood is get down, At that time, you are feeling maybe sad,
Yes.
And what did you do after that?
Yeah, I think that there are several ways for you to come to the United States to do a master's or PhD. And I think one way is the industry. Like if you work in an industry in your own country, if you're in your country, I'm sorry, that company can support you, right? Depending on the situation, the company can support your PhD. But that was not my case. So in my case, I had two options to do that. The first option was for the Brazilian government to give me the money, right, to come here. But that didn't happen because the government was not doing well. So for my master's degree and also for my PhD, I came by myself. Like I found a professor, and then they support me, so they gave me like the money to come to the United States. And when you do that, if you want to do that, like I did, I think the first approach is for the person to contact the university, especially the secretary from the department that you want to apply for. So, like in my case, I applied for the Department of Microbiology, right, in the Veterinary Medicine College. So I sent an email to the secretary saying, "Look, you have to give a brief introduction about yourself and just say, I want to do the master's or PhD. What should I do?" So she will give you some options, and some of them say, you have to contact a professor here. And
Mhm.
if the professor is willing to work with you, then everything's going to be okay. But other programs is different. Other, they will tell you, you have to apply. And then if the department accepts you, you'll do rotation. What is rotation? On your first year of PhD, you rotate in 3 or 4 labs, like you're gonna be in each lab for 3 months, for example, and then just doing experiments, learning the everything about the lab. And after the first year, you basically need to choose which lab you would like to go.
And also
But,
the professor should choose someone, right?
sorry?
And also the professor should choose to someone, not
Yeah,
just
sure.
not
Like
to, yeah,
if you want to go to the lab, for example, I have lab A, B, and C. So if I
yeah,
decide to go to lab A, the professor from lab A also needs to have the money to fund you.
yeah.
So it's everything's about money. So doesn't mean that if you want to go, the professor needs to have the money. But in my case, my situation was different. I didn't do rotation. Since the first day that I came for master's and PhD, I already had my advisor and my own project. So my situation was different. But I have a lot of friends who they rotated. So I know how the system work, and this depends on your department on the university. So you have that's why I said that the first step is to contact the secretary, because the secretary will guide you. The secretary is your best friend in the United States. So you really need to be kind and generous, because she will be the one who will guide you during the all the process here.
Nice to know.
Yes.
And in your case, you contact with your professor, right? And you send your resume or CV to him. And what did he say to you at that time, the first time?
Yeah, so for my current situation for the PhD program, I sent an email to Dr. Zhang here at Iowa State University. And on that email, I expressed my wish to do a PhD with him because I really liked his field of research. And I already sent him my resume. On the first email, I sent everything, all the information that he needed to know. And then he just replied to me, like, I guess just one day after, he replied really fast, scheduling like a Zoom meeting. So I had a meeting with him for like 40 minutes. And then he told him that I should apply for the program. And if I am approved, by the department, he would be happy to work with me because he already had the funding. So this is how it worked for me.
What did he ask you at that time? I mean, what kind of question asking this type of,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yes, for the meeting, I remember that we talked about my background, like what I did before. Like he also asked me why I was in Brazil because I could apply for the OPT. So it's like I could finish my master's here and then just work in the United States. But then
Mhm.
I explained him all the situation that I already had a PhD scholarship, but then a lot of things happened and I didn't have the scholarship anymore. So the conversation was just about your background, like your interest, like your goals for the future. Is yes, it's just about you, like your plans and why you want to go to that university, why you want to work with the professor.
Is there any pinpoint in that case to share our listener? I mean, if
Mhm.
you say something blah blah that can be better, or you shouldn't say something in that
Uh-huh.
type of situation. Do you think, for example, in your case, you got a lot of story before the PhD degree, and did you think something? Oh, I shouldn't say this situation. Maybe you had some problem with your previous advisor. Maybe you shouldn't mention it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
do you do you have some idea about it? Can you share us a little bit if you have?
Yes, I think in that conversation you need to be very
Open,
open, you need to be very flexible and
clear.
also clear, yes, and you need to be 100% transparent. Like you shouldn't try to hide anything. I think
Yeah.
this is obvious. Like I think that you have to be yourself. You just have to be yourself, and you don't. Yes,
Nobody
they
nobody
just want to
can
know you.
make a role, right?
Sorry.
Nobody can make a role.
Yes, no, I don't think so. Like they want to know your. Oh, but he also, now I remember, he also shared the research proposal with me. He also told me, Deborah, this is the proposal, and we already have the project. So he just showed me the project, and yeah, I think you need to be very clear and very transparent. And if you don't like the project, you should be very clear as well because you don't want to spend at least 4 years working in a project that you don't like, and
Yeah.
this is very serious. Like if you don't like your project, you will not feel motivated, you will not be happy, so it doesn't make sense to be in that situation. That's why I'm saying that people should be very clear and transparent.
And again, in your case, and you got the master degree in food science, then you switch to another
Hmm.
field, the new field for you. Still, you are veterinary medicine doctor, but you
Uh-huh.
know the previous field was the different. And did you have some difficult situation in your case? I mean, you are working in the lab, and most of study going on with animals, but the previous time, just maybe you were you were working with the milk, just this was the product,
Mhm.
but this is the animal. And what kind of difficult situation did you have
Uh-huh.
at that time?
Yeah, like to be honest, completely honest, as I said at the beginning, for my master's degree, the project was more. I was in a completely different situation in my master's degree because after my first year, my previous advisor he left the university, so I needed to switch the lab to go to another university, and basically I needed to develop a new project. So it was much tough for me because my project was very heavy in chemical engineering. So it took me 3 years and 3 months to finish my master's. So it was a long program. But at that time, today I feel very grateful for the opportunity because it taught me how to be resilient and how to be strong when you have difficult situation. And I think you just grow when you face hardship.
I
So
see.
the master's degree gave me, I think the master's was like a psychological test. And on the other hand, for the PhD, I feel much more comfortable because I'm doing something that I already have a little bit of experience, because my project is related to fluoroquinolone resistant Campylobacter in dairy cows. So basically, it's a bacteria that infects animals and also human beings, and that bacteria is becoming resistant to antibiotics. And this is a field that I have a little bit of background already, and I feel more comfortable. And I also feel much more motivated to work in this project than my project before this one. But the good thing is that, especially in the lab that I am, you know that because you also came to the same lab, people are very helpful. They support you a lot. They are very patient, and
This is more important things, I
yes,
guess.
I think that when you choose a PhD program, the most important thing is your lab, is your advisor, even more important than the name of the university itself.
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
I definitely agree with you. Um, as far as I understood, you are happy with new station, and also you are gonna finish your PhD soon. And
Yeah, I hope so.
I want to ask the last question, I guess. This is my last question, will be. And, and this is, what is your future plan? I
Mhm.
mean, you are PhD student, and maybe you are gonna stay in the US longer. Maybe you are gonna
Mhm.
come back your country. I don't know. But what is your future plan?
Yeah, my plans are actually about the place that I'm going to be when I finish. I really don't know, but I don't have like a direct plan, because I would go to the industry, or if I have the opportunity, I would go to the university itself, which means that I'm open to opportunities. And that's why I'm trying to have as many experience as I can have, because I don't know what will happen to me in the future. And with this pandemic, it's really difficult to know.
Yeah.
I personally speaking, I of course I want to go back to my country because my whole family is there. But
And
I
also,
think I will need to be patient because the world today is unpredictable.
yeah, definitely. And thank you for joining us today, Deborah.
Sure.
And I
And
will ask my listener question as
yes.
well.
Uh-huh.
Mm, But before that question, I would explain some
Mhm.
points. I would put your Deborah's linked profile in the explanation after this stream. And if someone wants to contact with her, and they can do it whatever they want, right?
Yeah, sure.
And
And
if you guys,
also,
yeah,
yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Would you like me to type the name of the program at the University of Minnesota?
sure, yeah, sure,
Should I type on the
yeah,
chat the host?
chat box, yeah, you can.
Okay, so just give me 1 second. It's called.
And also, if you have any question about this type of uh, application, please let us know. And if we know that situation, we can explain, or otherwise we can find another way. This is not important so much. And my listener asking you, and what did you pay attention to before contact someone? I mean, that question related. For example, you are living in Brazil and you are planning to study in the PhD program in the US. What is why did it important to contact with someone before to apply any program?
Mhm. It's important because each department works in a different way. Like, some departments, they just have rotation. And when you have rotation, you have to apply to the department. And if the department approves you, then you are in the program. But other departments, they don't have rotation. And if they don't have rotation, it means that you have to contact a professor. And you have to talk to the professor and explain that you want to work with the professor. And then, as I said before, if the professor is also interested and if he has money, he will let you know. And this is why I said that the first thing that you should do is to send an email to the secretary of the department, because the secretary is the person who knows everything about the department. And then she will tell you, okay, you should contact one professor, or she can tell you, you have to apply to the department, and then you will, if the department accepts you, that's fine. So that's why the secretary is very important. I think we are having problems with the connection.
Hello again. Sorry for the problem.
Okay.
There was an internet problem and connection problem here.
That's no problem.
Yeah. And my question was why this is so important to contact with someone before going there, before going to US.
Do you mean like the contact with the professor before?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the first step is to contact the secretary from the department. This is crucial because the secretary is the one who knows everything, right? And then you have to say to her, I'm interested in doing a PhD in this department. What should I do? Should I contact a professor before, or should I just apply? Because some programs, they tell you, you don't have to contact any professor. You just have to apply. But others, they say, you have to contact a professor before. But the secretary knows. That's why before contacting a professor, you should ask the secretary, because if she says you don't have to contact the professor, so you're just wasting your time contacting the professor. That's what I mean. Like, the PhD application, it's very, here in the United States, takes a long time. It's not something that you can finish in 1 month, I think. That's why you have some steps, and I think the first step is the secretary. Then she will guide you on what you have to do.
And if you remember, I asked you, this is much more related to budget, you know. Most of listeners, again, the student, and they are worried about related to budget. If you are applying any PhD program, how much they should allocate money? I mean, I don't know, is that correct question, but if someone wants to apply any program, and what do you suggest to them?
Yeah, do you mean in terms of like, is your question is about how much money do you need to come to the United States for the first time?
Yeah, especially if you are, they are not tourists, you know, they are gonna come there to PhD program. And this is the question, how much money they need first, especially in the first step. For example, they found a professor and they will apply for their documents. And in that case, after that, I believe they will get some money from the university, you know, like you will be a research assistant and
Yeah.
University will pay money to them.
Mhm.
But before that, at that time, how much they need money
Mhm.
to cover their expense, you know?
Yeah, so I think the first step is for you to get the documents, right? Like the visa and everything. And I know that this varies among countries. Like in Brazil, this amount should be different from Turkey or from Japan, for
Definitely, yeah.
example. But you have to you need to have the money for the visa and for some extra documents that they ask in the visa. And also, like in my case, when I wanted to take my visa, I needed to travel because my city doesn't have this process. So my first visa, I went to São Paulo. The second and the third one, I went to Rio de Janeiro. I don't know the situation in Turkey if it depends on the city that you live. So the first money is regarding the documents. And then the second money, I guess, it's regarding your travel, like your airplane ticket.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, because the university doesn't pay you the airplane ticket. So I think that if a company funds you, if you have money from a company, then I think that the company would pay your ticket to the United States. But
But
my PhD is not related to company, so yeah. But the good thing is that when you come to the United States, they will you're gonna be paid for your PhD. You cannot come here and this is mandatory. They will pay you. Like there is no voluntary PhD. Like
nobody can work in there voluntarily.
no, and also they
Yeah.
like I live
Yeah.
in Ames in Iowa, and Ames is a very good city in terms of money because the rents usually they are not so expensive. So the living expenses here it's not so high. So the amount of money that I make it's more than enough for me to have a decent life here. Like I was able to buy a car in my second year of PhD already,
Yeah.
and you can live in nice place. I mean, when I say nice, doesn't mean like very fancy. I just mean comfortable with a good localization. That's my
Yeah,
point.
that's it.
Yeah.
And I guess they should just maybe a little bit worry about the first step because
Mm-hmm.
first step is the same for everyone.
Yes.
You are living your own country and you are going to new place and you
Mhm.
need the time to get used to, right? And if
Yes.
you want to someone worry about something, maybe that point will be.
Yes.
Otherwise, the time will help and trade the everything.
Yes, I think so. Yes, and
They,
something that is important to mention that I didn't mention before, if you want to apply for PhD programs or masters, when I say PhD, I also include masters. It's the same situation. I would suggest that you start the procedure at least 1 year before the date that you plan on coming. So if you want to start your PhD at the beginning of 2022, next year, you are already a little bit late. So I
oh,
would say at least 1 year because if you want, we can talk about this in another live, or if people want to ask me these questions, you have to do exams. You have the TOEFL, the GRE, and those are not exams that you study for just 1 week and go, especially the GRE. So you need time to prepare.
yeah,
I
definitely.
think in 1 year, if everything works well, in 1 year you can prepare everything. But sometimes things don't work well. That's why
Yeah.
I mentioned that you may need a little bit more than 1 year to prepare everything.
If people they don't want to spend much more time with the previous step, they should start previously. They should start before graduation, I guess, right?
Yes, like I think, yeah, it depends on when you want to come. If you want to come as soon as you graduate from your bachelor's degree, you should start checking this 1 year and a half before you graduate. I think 1 year and a half is a safe time. I think you can do it, everything.
Which visa did you get for the PhD program or master program?
For the master's and PhD, I have an F1. I am on
Oh,
my second F1. And
this is for the students, right?
yes, F1 is student. But for the internship, I got a J1, which is a trainee visa. J1 was my first visa.
And you know, you are studying PhD, and who is paying for you? I mean, are you paying your PhD program by yourself, or someone is paying for you? Who is paying your PhD costs?
Yeah, like in my case, my project is a project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture. And my boss, my advisor, who is Dr. Shaheen, he pays my stipend. When I say stipend, is your salary, is how much money you make per month. So he pays, he gives me, I receive money from him like every month. And he also pays my studies here. Because when you come to the United States as a master's and PhD, you have two things that you have to pay. The first one is the stipend, which means that someone needs to pay you. You need to have a salary because you cannot be a student here without receiving money. And so this money is for you to survive in the country. And the second cost is the cost of you attending the university, of you taking classes. And that cost, for you just to have an idea, Iowa State is a public university, as well as University of Wisconsin and also Minnesota. And if you are doing a PhD or master's, it's around $24,000 per year. Around
24,000.
Yes. But in addition to that, you also need to have your salary, which is around $24,000 as well.
Per year.
Per year, yeah, $24,000. Yeah, which
Totally,
means, sorry,
totally about $50,000.
yeah. So if you are doing a PhD in a public university in the United States, in 1 year, your advisor or your program needs to pay you $50,000 per year. If you multiply this by 4 or 5, that is the average. A PhD program, 5, 6 years, going to be 6. Then you have the amount of money. So $50,000 per year average. But if you go to a private university like Cornell University, instead of paying $24,000 per year, you would pay almost $30,000 per year because it's a private
public university, right?
Yes, like for example, Harvard, Cornell, I forgot others. They are private schools, so they are much more expensive to go. Yeah.
And Deborah, thank you for being with us today. And we already reached 50 minutes in our stream. I guess I already planned to 30 minutes, but we already passed this time. And thank you so much.
Sure. And I also typed my email. And I will send you my LinkedIn profile. If people want to contact me through LinkedIn or through the email, that's no problem. They can choose. And I will be happy to help people or to answer any question. And I'm sorry about the schedule. I was a little bit confused about the schedule.
No problem.
10 minutes late.
You're fine. Thanks so much. Thank you for being with us again. See you later.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye, everyone. Have a nice evening in Turkey, actually.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, being with us today. I guess if you like that stream, please let us know. Please put your comments in checkbox. And we are planning to do something similar in the future, but we need to know if you like this type of stream. Thank you so much being with us. Have a good evening, everyone.